Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of C++ STL. In this tutorial, we're going to look at some more containers provided by STL. And the first container that we're going to have a look at is called array. And to use array, we need to include a header file called array. Now, till this point, we have used vectors in our different projects, and that's quite fine to use vector, but there are two drawbacks. First of all, a vector is designed to dynamically resize whenever you add more contents or take contents out of that vector. But let's say you have a data set, list of elements, and you just know that the size is going to be constant. It's going to have 10 elements. It's not going to have more than 10 elements or less than 10 elements. In that kind of situation, it doesn't make any sense to use vectors, because the vectors, they are typically declared in your heap, not your stack, and they are typically declared at runtime, so they are slower to access than typically the stack allocated arrays that are allocated like this. Let's say int array 2 equals to 1 and 2, and these kind of arrays, they are typically declared in your stack, so they are obviously faster to access in from memory than just typically using a vector. But these arrays, they also have a drawback. Let's say we have a bunch of arrays declared here, and then we are going to loop through those arrays, and those arrays are of different sizes. Then we need to keep the track of these sizes, and we cannot simply declare a variable like this and hold the value of that array inside that variable and pass that variable here as like this. Now you can obviously use a constant integer, so you can say const const int size of 2, and it's going to be fine. Or you can even say const expr to define this as a constant expression, and you can do this. But the point is that you need to have a extra variable to keep track of the size. Another way you can do this is by defining a macro. So let's say define size siz, and then we say 2, and also we can use this macro here like this. But the point is that we have a function called size in case of vectors that takes care of this problem, and the same thing we can have when we use this array header file. So to declare a array in STL way, instantiate an object of the array class. So we create an object of array class by typically giving two templated arguments. One is the type of the array. In our case, it's going to be an integer, and the size of the array. Let's say we have 10 elements in our array, and I will call this array, and it has all the functionalities of an array. Let's say we can use initializer lists to initialize that array. I'm not going to initialize the array like this. And even you can call functions like this, like array dot fill. Sorry, you can say that array dot fill, just like you can fill the vectors with a constant value. Let's say I want to fill all my arrays with 10. And also what you can do is you can call array dot begin to get the beginning iterator, and you can call array dot end to get the end iterator. But the coolest part is that you can call array dot size. So you can, in case of using this kind of arrays, you can simply say for, let's say, int I equals to 0, I is less than array dot size I plus plus, and then we can simply access that array using this kind of random access operator. Or even we can like vectors, we can use array dot at I to access the value of the array, just like we have used vectors or such kind of standard template arguments or functions. So that takes care of that. And also these arrays are, they are typically declared in your stack, so they are obviously going to be faster than your vector. And when you don't need to resize your data structure, it's preferable that you use arrays instead of a vector. And these arrays, they are as fast as your normal arrays, so you don't need to think too much. Now the only difference that I was talking about is that whenever a vector is declared, let's say we have a vector, what happens inside is you allocate the memory. So let's say we have this array in the heap. So typically declaring an array in heap looks like this. We create an pointer to that memory, and we're going to treat that pointer as int pointer here, and we allocate the memory using malloc, and this function allocates the memory into the heap, and we typically provide the size in bytes, how many data we are going to provide. So it's going to be, let's say, size of integer times, let's say, 10. So have to have 10 elements. But if you really want to declare an array like this in stack, just for a general knowledge, you can use a function provided by the C++ library called allocate, this function, and it's going to declare the memory just like it used to create the memory in the heap, but instead of that it's going to allocate the memory in stack. So this is quite a handy function in some situations. I'm just giving you this information so that you can use this information in a case you need to. Now we are done with array. We have seen the functionalities that the array it provides basically the functionalities just like vector. It has some extra arguments, extra functions. We can just look through those functions. So I can just create an array here, array of, let's say, int comma size of 10, and this is array ay array. This is a class actually, and let's call this array. And you can use the functions like array dot size. We have already seen that, size to get the size of the array. In this case it's going to return us 10. But apart from that, you have array dot begin and array dot end, and you also have the array dot data that gives a pointer to the data of the array. So you can treat this as a pointer also. So this is going to be typically returning you let's say in this case integer pointer, okay, to the actual memory in your heap, okay. And also we have array dot fill that fills the whole array with a value, and we have array dot front to get the front element of the array, and also we have a function called array dot back to get the last element of the array. And also we have a function called array. We have already seen array dot add, so I'm not going to write it. And we also have array dot size, not size but array dot swap, swap, that helps you to swap that array with another array. Let's say we have an array 2 here, and we can simply swap the data between array and array 2 using array dot swap. So let's say we have another array called array 2, okay. So yeah, that's how we can use array. So another one header file that we are going to look today, not header file but another one STL class that we are going to look today, a container, is called multimap. And to use multimaps, we simply include map, not multimap, okay. And the map provide us with multimap. Now the advantage of the multimaps, they are slower than maps. So I am going to declare a multimap of, let's say, int and int. These multimaps, they are slower than, and I will call it they are slower than maps. Already covered maps and unordered maps in previous tutorials, so please check those videos out to know what kind of functionalities maps and unordered maps provide. All those functionalities are provided by multimaps, but the only difference is that in case of maps, the keys were needed to be unique, okay. And the same thing where for your unordered maps, your keys were needed to be unique, but in case of multi-map, that's not required. So to insert a value into this multi-map, we just simply, just like map or your let's say unordered map, you say mm.insert, and then you give a pair here, okay. So in this case, I am going to just simply use our shorthand syntax to do that, and I am going to insert 2 for 1. But the only difference that these multi-maps have than map, I'm just going to show you, is that I can have same keys for multiple values. And this is the most interesting thing about multi-maps, okay. You can do that in multi-maps, but you can't do this kind of thing in case of maps. Now this has one disadvantage with multi maps, with respect to maps or unordered maps, is that you cannot do this. Okay, you cannot use this operator. This operator is not defined for multi maps because it can have multiple values for a key. So to iterate to a multi-map, you can just simply use our for loop, or you can simply for loop through an iterators. We have already shown those kind of looping in previous videos, so I'm not going to bother that, but I can simply say auto. Let's say x is our entry in our multi-map, and then what we can do is we can say cout x dot first and then x dot second. Okay, and now if we run this code, we can see that indeed for 1 there is 2, for 1 there is 3, for 1 there is 4, and for 2 there is 2. Now some of the functionalities that map and unordered maps provide are also included into multi maps that you can use. The first and very common thing is the begin on and the end, and also you can use emplace or check whether the multi map is empty by simply calling the empty function. And apart from that, there are some more functionalities, as I can see here, like you can also call find, and in this case the find is going to return you whether the key is present or not, and if the key is not present, it's going to give you an end iterator, and otherwise it's going to give you the iterator to that particular value, just like your normal map. And also you have all the things like max size or swap or upper bound or value comparator, these kinds of things. So that's it for today, guys. Hope you have enjoyed this video and learned something new. You can check my channel for the playlist on STL, and there are many other videos on STL covering almost the entire STL library. And thank you very much.